We're continuing our chat with Adam Sasser, who formed a company, E3 Pallet Solutions, within the last few years, and he's firmly headquartered in downtown Augusta at the King Mill. And welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. The name E3, how did that come about?
Yeah, so it's kind of a play on words as the baseball side of things. So I played first base in baseball, and as a lot of people may know or may not know, an error on the first baseman is marked down in the book as an E3. So it's kind of just a play on baseball terms.
My nickname was Neil E6.
Oh, there you go.
Shortstop. I think it was short.
Yeah.
E6.
Yeah,
so
right.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
So you, for those that maybe didn't see the first episode, you graduated from Greenbrier High School.
I did.
And go Dogs. You played for the University of Georgia.
That's right.
And you hit the road. And boy, what was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a grind for sure, to say the least. And just to give you a kind of a quick synopsis of the daily grind of a baseball player at that level is, very first day I get the call to join the team in Sioux City.
Mm-hmm.
I have to leave Augusta at 3 a.m. to catch a flight out of Atlanta. Fly all day, go to Dallas, meet the team in Sioux City, Iowa. I land at, let's say, 2 p.m. We're playing at 5, so I got to get straight off the plane. They pick me up. We go, and I'm in the lineup that day, mind you. So after an entire day of traveling, I am playing for whatever reason.
Right.
So the game goes on. After the game, I then find out that we're actually loading up on a bus and driving through the night to Dallas, Texas, where I just got off a plane in Dallas. So that was a 12-and-a-half-hour bus trip through the night that I was not aware of. So that is the daily life, I guess.
The daily life.
Yeah, sleeping on a bus.
That's right. And to make ends meet in between games and off times, Adam was able to get into the pallet business, and ironically, this all occurred just after COVID. Is that right?
Yeah, a little bit during COVID.
Yeah,
kind of towards the tail end. Yeah.
Sure, and I'm wondering, boy, there's just such delays with everything still.
Yeah, that's right.
Supply issues and such. What is that like for the pallet business?
Yeah, so oddly enough, when COVID hit, it shut down a lot of production, a lot of transportation, stuff like that, as everyone's well aware of. One of the big things that it hit was the actual lumber industry of actually producing lumber. So therefore, producing new pallets was a lot tougher, and it actually skyrocketed the prices of new pallets due to lumber shortages. So with that being said, the recycled pallet, side of things, it raised the prices of those as well. But it actually kind of created some new business for the recycled side, mm-hmm. due to it being hard to get new pallets. So a lot of these companies were maybe not aware of the recycled, side of pallets. Now they are, because they had to find an alternative.
Yeah. It sounds a little like the car business. I mean, it was hard to get new cars, right?
That's right. Yep.
And you're offering something that's been recycled.
That's right.
Do you try to clean it up as best you can, or make it a little stronger?
Yeah, we touch every pallet in house and make sure that it's passes our our quality inspection, stuff like that. And any boards that need replacing, we tear off and actually repair. Obviously, we have a dismantler that will actually tear the boards off of pallets. If it's a pallet that we can't reuse, mm-hmm. We tear those down and actually use the boards after we cut them to size to then repurpose that wood. And then any wood that we can't reuse, we partner with a company in the area that actually mulches the wood, mm-hmm. And then is used for commercial mulch. So every pallet that comes through us is being reused in one way or another.
And we're continuing with Adam Sasser, who founded his company and is set up at the King Mill, and it's e3pallets.com. And what are the different uses, I guess, on the receiving end when someone gets pallets from you? What typically do they use them for nowadays?
Yeah, so You're saying on if I were to sell to them, correct?
Yeah.
So,
What are they? Are they just using them to ship out, or what would be some aspects?
Yeah, I mean that would be the main reason, obviously, for them to transport their goods from either from business to business or business to consumer, depending on what that actual business does. But now there are some businesses that we deal with that will buy pallets from us and just use it for warehousing. So moving materials around their warehouse makes it obviously a lot easier with a pallet, with a forklift. Right. And one thing that we can do with that, what we offer is almost like a rental program with them. So if they need to clean up their warehouse, they can use that, and whenever they're done with them, we'll actually do like a buyback from them.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really excellent. And Adam acquires pallets from other manufacturers across the country.
Yeah.
And then you broker them, so it's really interesting. I'm just curious. Have you talked with other folks like yourself in other cities that do what you do? I mean, is it a growing industry?
Oh yeah. So the pallet industry in itself is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So it's a very large industry in itself. And actually, a few months back, the NWPCA, which is the National Wood, Pallet, and Container Association, actually held their fall plant tour in Augusta.
Wow.
And so just right downtown in Augusta, they had, their convention, stuff like that, which is, I think, maybe the first time they were in Augusta, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, like, I think in the spring, they're going to Fort Worth, Texas. So it is a very large industry. And so, to your point, I do talk around the country, and it is a business where there aren't, no one's competing against each other, because there's plenty of business in the area, but also obviously in the country. So any way that I can help someone, or any way that they can help me, we're always trying to scratch each other's backs.
Yeah, I use the car analogy. Sometimes you may be in need of pallets.
That's right.
And they may have it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I had a buyer in California, and obviously me getting them my pallets to California would be very it'd be way too, it would be
shipping
expensive.
and all. Yeah.
So finding a supplier there, or a pallet company there that would, be willing to supply that's kind of how you would handle that situation.
Yeah. And when folks go to your website at e3pallets.com, besides pallets, what are some other areas that you're kind of growing into?
Yeah, so we're looking to get into more of the entire recycle game in general, figuring out ways to, because whenever I do go into a company, a lot of times we're going in to look at their pallets, stuff like that. But a lot of times that's not their only waste issue. And, I call it waste, but a lot of times they're throwing everything they got into a dumpster, and it's going straight to the landfill, where a lot of that material that they're throwing out can actually be recycled in a way, and can sometimes get that company down to cost neutral with zero waste, which is huge. It's huge in the world that we live in today. Yeah,
that's really neat. So you're seeing a problem, and you're trying to kind of fill the need on it. And
right.
Do you see other progressions in your company? Either so you're at the King Mill, either how you expand, or you're a young fellow, but as you get into your 30s, I mean, what do you see in the horizon?
Yeah, so like I mentioned a minute ago with the recycle side of things, like any way that I can continue to grow my pallet company, and also, get into some of these larger companies, whereas if I can offer more than just pallet recycling and I can do the entire picture, then that obviously help both companies in itself. Another thing that I'm looking to maybe hopefully get into is figuring out a way to turn my waste wood into, right now we're mulching it, and we're producing a ton of pallets and wood scraps that are being turned into mulch, but a way to reutilize that, and there's plenty of ways to do that. It's just trying to figure out the right one for us.
Yeah. What about staff? I mean, where do you see you growing that way?
Yeah, so right now, let's see, we have 12 guys that work in our facility, and where I'm at now, I'm at about max capacity as far as storage goes. So either expanding within that area, or likely buying a piece of property and actually growing, building what I need there, and ultimately bringing in more, creating new jobs and stuff like that in the area is never a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on all your growth.
Thank you.
And you have just a bright future ahead. And I think what you're doing is really cool because you can serve the same customer with a lot of different needs, and it's just makes it more efficient, I think.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, to your point, like whenever they're throwing, let's say, for example, pallets into a dumpster and it is going to the landfill, over 30% of that roll-off dumpster is going to be filled with air. So if we drop a trailer there, then they're able to save. Well, first of all, you can put double the amount of material, sometimes triple the amount of material in a drive van that you could a roll off. And keeping those pallets out of the landfill is obviously the end goal. For example, on average, out of every tree that is cut down, you can produce 8 pallets on average. So every single time that we save every 8 pallets that we recycle, we're saving a tree. So that's just a very, brief way of putting that. And there's 400, I think 50 million pallets produced every year. Wow. On average. So any way that we can help, keep trees, save trees, stuff like that. And like I said, every 8 pallets that we recycle is saving the planet one way or another,
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, it's a new generation. I'm glad we'll be following you in the future. Right. We really appreciate it. Again, e3pallets.com. Really, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You got it.
Yep.